Hey guys, what's up? There's this guy who made a video on esports. This controversial topic of why esports is considered not an esport, and I had to explain to him why his opinions are invalid and why they don't suffice the mass majority, and why people think it is an esport. It is an esport, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really consider it an esport or not an esport. I feel it's more of a niche, a gray area, if you will. So now I'm going to explain why speedrunning and esports are completely different from each other. From like this game, for example, and playing Link's Awakening, I'm bored, and I have apparently no life. Crap, dude. I can't do anything right. Anyway, this is the reason why speedrunning and esports will never permission. So I'm going to be explaining why speedrunning and esports are completely different from one another. And I'll be telling you why they are and what makes an esport and why a sport's a sport. Now, anything that is a sport is usually typically talked about as, you play the game. It's a recreational activity that you play for fun, but in a sport, it's usually used to make money. If people think of sports, they think of like the MLB or the NBA or the NHA or NHL, whatever you want to define as an esport. I messed that up. Okay, hold on. So yeah, there's pretty much esports are kind of a niche, and I don't like when people define esports as an actual sport, because it's compared to the old comparison thing. And why speedrunning is not considered an esport, in my opinion, is because it's not a sport. It's not a sport, and nor is an esport a sport. What makes esport an esport is competition and money. And when money is thrown into the mix, it becomes a commercialized sport. And that's what typically esports are. They're commercialized competitions held and people make mass majorities of money. It's a cash grab, and a lot of times people mistake speedrunning as a sport when it's not really a sport. That's the difference. It's not really a sport, man. You're comparing it. You're comparing a C sport and a sport as like they're one and the same. They're not one and the same. They don't have the same dexterity or competition. Speedrunning is a niche. It's a gray area. Well, it holds competition. You can make money off it. It's not really a cash grab. Like they don't have daily tournaments. Well, they do, but not as much. And most of them are just niche little tournaments that people hold for fun. And what we've learned, when anything turns corporate, it turns to shit. And I would never want to classify speedrunning as an esport at all, whatsoever. And I fucked that thing up so many times. Anyway, so a reason why I don't classify esports even a sport at all is because, one, an esport doesn't even make any sense. It's a sport, Just call it what it is. It's a video game. It's a commercialized game. It's commercialized video game competitions to make money. Just call it a video game league or whatever. You can call it esport, because an esport doesn't even make any sense. That's like saying league has more coordination and dexterity. First of all, there are StarCraft speedruns. There are League of Legends speedruns, probably. I'd be surprised if there was some kind of speedrun for it. And God damn it. Anyway, I've been speedrunning for about 5 years on and off, because I really don't have time, because I have a job. And knowing that I work a job, I really don't have time to really justify this argument. I don't have time to stay up 2 in the morning and fucking have no life and go on some award show. So I was linked to an award show. This is how I kind of find this channel. And I'm looking at this guy's video on how speedrun is in esports. And I'm like, I gotta look this up because, although his points have very Cheese is all for speedrunning being an esport, but I don't agree with it being an esport, honestly, because it's too commercialized for that. And anything commercialized, from what we learned, it causes a lot of trouble. You know why it causes a lot of trouble? Because it's not meant to be an esport. It's meant to be a niche for fun, you know? It's meant to be fun. Speedrunning is just meant for you. It's not meant to win money or anything. It's meant for the player. It's not meant for you to make money, you know? It's really just a cash grab, you know? That's what it's meant. That's what esports are. They're just cash grabs. And yeah, in speedrunning has this. If you compare Zelda to this game that I'm playing, you're not comparing it properly. You're not making a proper comparison. Let's say comparing Zelda to Mario 64, which he does. It is this guy's video. I'm gonna link that in the description. And he compares all these games to each other. He compares it to something like this. Not once did he mention fucking Smash Brothers. He mentioned Super Street Fighter. Which in my opinion was honestly the most moronic thing I have ever seen. Well, see, when you play fighting games, you're playing it on a competitive level. It's way different than... You're playing that on a serious competitive level, man. You're not... It's way different than speedrunning, because speedrunning is way different. It has a lot to the hobby, you know. There's capture cards, there's CRTs, where Smash Melee has a CRT thing because CRT is the best way to play a video game. You get all the inputs at the right time. There's no inputs away, no bullshit. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot to esports and there's a lot to speedrunning. But the reason why I don't say they're an esport is because, one, speedrunning is kind of really a niche, and it's really only for the player to get a good time. In esports, there's a winner and a loser. I mean, you can have a race, but who wants to watch two games side by side? In esports is a competition, not a competition to get the best time. You know, it's not for that. It's not for the player. It's for you. It's for you. You know, it's for you to have fun. You can get a good time. That's what speedrunning is. So, see, there are, and I will admit there are ways of earning money through speedrunning, mostly through partnerships and people liking your streams and getting enough support for a partnership. But it's really not enough attention for it to have that much of an effect as esport, because nobody's gonna want to speedrun. The typical audience is gonna want to see some kick-ass gameplay, and there are too many speed games to put in that category of being an esport, because there is no way to easily define it as an esport, because there's just no way to do that effectively. And what I mean by that is you just can't really do it effectively without hurting the others, you know, hopes and dreams of it being an esport. So let's say you want to make an esport, right? Making an esport with one, people would want to do it just because they can make money off it. You're not gonna get much out of speedrunning if you're just gonna make it in a competition cash grab. Really not. You're not gonna make it. So yeah, that's speedrunning. And these shows talk about his dexterity thing. So the dexterity argument is complete bullshit on his end. Having a dexterity argument as the argument for his argument doesn't make it a valid argument. You know, just because something doesn't have dexterity doesn't mean it's not an esport. It just means it's it means it's just not I don't know. I just feel like dexterity and coordination, like that's in a lot of esports, correct? But in speedrunning, that's not really much of a thing because oh god, my cart's going haywire right now. Holy shit. Oh, that game's dead. Fuck me. Like I don't even know what to say about that. My cart's just fucked up again. I don't even know what the hell is going on with my cart, man. So as you see this blue screen, I'm going to be talking about why esports are esports and what makes speedrunning not an esport. Now, esports are all about the money. There are people making money. There are people supporting it. There are money pots. There are pools, and you make money off it. It's more of a job. Like when you do like games like Smash and League, and you're playing for money. You're playing because it's more of a job now. It's not really... Yes, speedrunning can be a job, but that doesn't... let me just finish here. You're playing to win. In speedrunning, you're playing to win against yourself. And you can call speedrun races kind of an esport if you really wanted to. But the problem is there are too many games... Like there are games like Four Swords that are not well known. There are people like Four Swords Adventures, which is not a little bit more known than the first game. So I'm gonna go to speedrun.com. Of course, I'm not gonna show you the webpage. I'm just gonna show you that blue screen because I'm a jerkle face. And I'm just gonna show you. So, like for example, Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. That's different than the game I was playing, and it's way different than its counterparts, Super Mario Land 1 and Super Mario Land 3. Wario Land or whatever you want to call it. So you know, the games are way different from each other, and the problem is there's too many games that are different from one another, and there are too many games because a lot of them, the people speedrun, some of them are new, some of them are retro, a lot of them are retro, and a lot of them are new. So like example, Pokemon Red and Blue is way different than Gold and Silver. Well, I mean movements wise, it's a little different. Oh, you can't compare Pokemon Coliseum and Crystal because they're two different Pokemon games. You can't compare Pokemon Monster Stadium, Pocket Monster Stadium, and Pokemon XD because they're completely different, as well as Coliseum being different. They're two different games, you know. You can't compare them wholeheartedly from each other. You can't compare Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker because they're different. You can compare kind of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the differences, but you can't even compare those two as a speedrun because one, they're different, and the movement's a little bit different. But if you played Ocarina of Time, you could probably play Majora's Mask. But most likely, if you play Ocarina of Time, you're not really going to reach the top MM. That's just how it is. Because I don't think ZG doesn't run MM because I don't know because it's not comparable. It's no comparison. That's like saying you can't compare Banjo-Tooie and Banjo-Kazooie because they're completely different speed games altogether. The movement is slightly similar, but it's very different enough for it to be very different enough. So if you like playing Banjo-Kazooie, and you played it for a longer time, you're not gonna beat the top runner and beat Banjo-Tooie. PG, you're not gonna beat him. I mean, I may eat my words, but he's been running the game for years and years. He resets on the dumbest shit, and he has very strict standards that most BT runners don't really have. And instead is more the same on Banjo-Kazooie than anyone else. But as Steve's been playing it for so long, he's very good at the game, and he can get decent times even in marathons, just like PG can get a decent time in a marathon setting if he really wanted to. But he's actually good at no reset and 100% in BT, because it's way different than BK because of the way the items are collected. You can't compare Link's Awakening Oracle Ages 100% because they're completely different, and they take a long time to do because you need to play the game twice to even 100% it, because it requires 2 games to do so. You know, it would be, you can 100% the first part of the game, but you're really not 100%ing anything because you don't have all the items unless you go to Secret or Linked. You're not 100%ing them. You can't compare Super Smash Bros. Melee speedruns to Super Smash Bros. Brawl Subspace Emissary runs because they're both different. You can't compare World of Light to Brawl Subspace Emissary speedruns because they're not the same. They're more battle oriented. There's weakness elements. There's power up elements to it. You power up your fighters. In Brawl, there is none of that. You can compare, like, there's just so many seed runs I can compare to. You cannot compare the bus. Well, you can probably kind of compare the bus and Amori to Animal Crossing. That's one of the few exceptions, but you cannot compare the 2 to E plus, because I'm gonna only make this comparison because one, they're completely different from between the three. You cannot compare the route to Golden Net and E plus compared to, say, the bus and more Animal Crossing, because one, the debts are not required to pay a certain amount of debts to unlock something to get to the island, because going to the island is different in those games, and one of them doesn't have the island in it, which is the bus and more Animal Crossing has the island, which you need a GBA for, in which that's banned in Golden Net anyways. So even if you want to get it bans to use the GBA peripheral for the speedrun anyway. It doesn't say it, but you ask them and they say, yeah, it's banned. But and E plus Golden Net, you're required to pay all this. There's a lot more backtracking. There's a lot more going back and forth through the island because it's just a lot of vast and mechanic changes, and you're relying on rain and snow at different times, and there's different strategies for having rain and snow on the island and the village, vice versa. There's different strategies and different tactics you have to take. You have to stand out longer if it's that, and sometimes you would have to. There's a lot of like little changes you would have to do in the route, but the route isn't set in stone. That's the issue with U plus. For golden tools, I mean, there's not much of an issue with the rod because the rod's probably the more easiest of the golden tools to collect. So I'm going to be comparing now, just like you can't compare those 3 games together for those specific categories. You can't compare Donkey Kong 64 movement with DKC movement, because that's just not how. You just can't compare those games, even though they're vastly. You compare the DCCs together, but even then, there's just vast differences between the two and how they ran. But the run is similar, but you just can't compare the movement because it's all different. Like the movement's entirely different from the two. As DKC is more, I think. There's a lot different tech in DKC 1 as compared to 2. Like, you can't compare the 2 runs, nor can you compare 3 to it. The only thing closest you can compare DKC 2 to is DKC 3. And then even the newer DKCs like Tropical Freeze and the other one, what is it called? The Returns for 3DS or the Wii U or whatever, or the Wii. You can't really compare those. There's just not a comparison. There's no way to compare because they're completely different games. Like, you can't compare them because you can compare DKC Returns and Tropical Freeze because they're similar, but there's slightly differences that you just can't really compare them to. And then there's Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey. You cannot compare the two. They're completely different. You can compare Sunshine. You can't compare Sunshine to either one of those either. Nothing comes close. Odyssey's completely different. And I've seen ROM hacks that put the mechanics of Odyssey, it just is too broken to put. They're completely different games. They don't mix together. They don't mix. It completely breaks the sequences of Mario 64. You can't put the two together. It completely ruins the puzzles for the games. That's just like comparing cake to Cheetos, because they're different. They're too different. They're similar, but they're too different to make a similar comparison. They're both snacks, but that's all you're comparing that to. You can't compare Animal Crossing to Doki Doki any percent, which it's a meme and I run that. It's on the leaderboard, but you can't compare Life Sim to Animal Crossing because you can't compare those two, because Animal Crossing's different. It has more to it. You can't, just like you can't compare The Sims 4 to Animal Crossing, because they're both different. They're all different regardless. You can't see, the problem is with speedrunning and esports, which is I'm going to get to my next point. I know I rambled on about comparing different games, but you can't compare a competitive match of League of Legends to a race of Super Mario 64. You just can't. They're completely different, and the games require different things. And many runners can just choke and just lose it. Or an esport, you have to be ready. And you have to be ready to adapt. But the speedrunning thing, the thing is in speedrunning, it's so much like an esport, but it's not in drastically different ways. And the reason why this is a gray area is, one, there are too many speed games. There are so many. You could speedrun almost anything. Where esports, there's only a certain amount of things that people would watch for money, to get a cash grab. That's the only thing I can tell you. That's all I can tell you, because esports just are just a cash, more like people want to see. Oh my god, these players are playing for money. You know, that's what when you when I watch Smash, right? I enjoy watching Smash because it's fast. There's a lot of interesting options, and I like watching Ultimate, because the reason why I like Ultimate better than Melee as an esport is Ultimate has so much higher diversity because it's so early. The game is new. There's so many different characters. There's Pichu. There's Inkling. There's Villager. There's Ness, Lucas, Ganondorf, Marth, Lucina, Chrom. There's 60 different fighters, and there was even a Little Mac that popped in, but you really don't see them too often in tournaments. See, example, you can't compare a Smash Ultimate Speedrun to a Smash Ultimate tournament or a competitive match, because they're different. But anyway, that's you can't compare the speedrunning, because see, when you're playing you're speedrunning and then you're playing competitively, it's a completely different format. Just like you're speedrunning Pokemon, you're playing competitive Pokemon. There's more knowledge in the what Pokemons do in competitive Pokemon, just like there's more. You can't compare competitive format to speedrunning, because there's so much you need to know about the match rather than the run. Whereas just like in esport, there are matchups, there are things that you have to know about the competitive format of that game mode. As a speedrunning, you have to know the entirety of the game for the majority to complete the run as fast as possible. And that's where I feel the line should be drawn, is speedrunning and esport. And I say it's not. It's a gray area and a niche, because there are just so many different speed games, and the goals aren't the same as an esport or sport. The goal in a speedrun is to beat the game as fast as possible, or complete a set goal for the runner to do. For example, get the golden net or golden rod, where you get to obtain the golden net or the golden rod or all the tools or getting everything. Whereas in esport or sport, the goal is to win, to beat the other player or the other team. which is why you can't really compare them, because one is a winner and one is a loser. In a race, you're only beating yourself no matter how you cut the cake. If you're speedrunning in your race and you're still winning money, you can't compare that, because you're beating yourself, really, because that's what a speedrun is supposed to do. It's not, you're not supposed to beat other competitors. That's kind of where I feel the race thing is really the only thing that validates speedrunning as an esport, but it's really not enough. But the problem is, a speedrun is your time and your time alone. Speedrunning, you're versing the game. You're not versing the other players. Like, I'll give you a link to Worcester's little video too, explaining why he likes speedrunning, and it's not because of the competition. He likes playing against himself and winning against him, and beating the game, and competing against the game. It's not about competing against other people. Like he said in his video, it's competing against yourself. In esport, you're typically competing against the other team, or a bracket, or some sort of tournament formula. For speedrunning, you're mainly competing against the leaderboard, is just to show who has the best time. And that's why it's on esport, and it's rather a niche. A niche is, I'm going to look up what a niche is. A niche is, I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm going to read it to you. I want to look up what niche means. Okay, before I have to hold my tongue and cut out part of this. I'll look up what a niche is.
Niche.
Oops, that's not it. Wrong thing. Wrong thing. Crap. Wrong meeting. We know niche. I don't know how to spell it, but anyway. But a niche is basically means like like a Pokemon, a niche moveset. Like, it's set to do one thing, but it's not. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, basically. Speedrunning is a gimmick. And sorry for the really loud ear rape noise. But the difference between the speedrun and a thing in esport is it's a niche to try to beat yourself, beat your own time, and compete against the game. Whereas an esport is competing against another player or another team to win against them or win money. Whereas esport is where and not even racing is considered like a cash grab. It's more and the reason why esports, like speedrunning, don't really have cash, is not really a good cash grab, is because it's just so much of a niche, and a lot of people are going to find the same thing. Like Mario Odyssey, they're going to want to watch the high execution runs like Red and Blue, Mario Odyssey, Celeste, Super Mario 64. And we don't want speedrunning to be just known for those games. That's why we have sites like speedrun.com to show all these different games and grow it and have our own little community and have us have an interest in something that we like. Speedrunning should be for you. It shouldn't be for money. That's why it's not esport. That's why it's fun, because you're enjoying it, playing games over and over that you like, and doing it really fast. And doing something you enjoy is all that matters in life. Am I right? Should you enjoy it? It shouldn't be about money. It's not about money, nor was it about money. Speedrunning is my favorite because it's not involving cash. Because you're worried about beating you. You're not worried about beating the other person. You're worried about beating you. You're only playing against yourself. It's a one-player sport. An esport is a two-player competition. A speedrun is a one-player competition. You're competing against yourself. That's why it's not an esport. Because you're competing against yourself. against one another, against yourself. A race is just a niche. That's what it means. A race is a gimmick in speedrunning. A speedrun is typically only you. You're the only player. You're trying to beat the game as fast as possible. You're versing the game. You're not versing another player. For those that didn't want to go through that video, if you want to, I'm going to put like a timestamp at the beginning. You know, to the point what I'm going to say now. Too long, didn't listen to the whole video. Speedrunning is a niche. Races are a niche. Speedrunning is meant to compete against yourself, and leaderboards rank where you are, whoever has the best time. Because of that, you're not competing against one another, you're competing against yourself. Which puts speedrunning in a gray area for me, in my opinion. And just like I said before, there are too many games to compare to. Way too many. Which is why I don't like putting speedrunning, and this question gets asked all the time by a lot of people, is speedrunning esport? No, it is not. It would never be an esport. It would never ever be an esport because you're playing against yourself. No one wants to watch two people playing against themselves. That's for the races. However, the winner of the race, whoever beats the game first, just like it's a race, but it's not really like track and field. It's more like you're beating the game before someone else, and that's not really a speed run. That's a speed run race, which is a different thing entirely. When you're speedrunning, you're resetting for a good run. You're resetting for a good result, or sometimes just trying to keep going and doing runs till you get a good result. Which is why it's a niche activity and a hobby. And that's why I love running my games, because my games are enjoyable to me. And speedrunning, you see, as you can probably tell, like if you look up cheese, so if you look up Cheese05, right? Okay, you look up Cheese05, right? And you'll see that he likes the popular games. He likes the over-centralized games like Celeste or Mario 64. That's how it got popular. He's playing the popular categories for the popular video game. You see, he has first in 120 70 star because this is the most popular. He's gotten successful because he's popular. That's why he likes what he likes. And that's why he's popular. See, if you're comparing speedrunning to esports, yes, you can compare it to an esport if you're playing Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, or Celeste, or Mario Odyssey, one of the popular games, or Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. But speed games tend to die out and things become popular. But yeah, you can compare those two. You compare it if you're doing like a game that requires that coordination, but still, you're playing against yourself. You're not playing against another person. You're playing against yourself. That's the goal of speedrunning. That's the goal of speedrunning. You're playing against yourself, man. The goal of playing a video game, speedrunning it wise, is to beat you. It's not to beat the other person, which is why speedrunning is different. It's not the same. It won't be the same because it's completely different. So you can compare esports and sports, but you can't compare them entirely to speedrunning because you're not competing. You're competing against one person, and that's the video game. You're not competing against any other person. You're competing against the video game. The video game you are speedrunning is your competitor. That's how esports works. I mean, that's how speedrunning works. That's how esports works. In esport or sport, you're competing against a team or another set of players. You're not competing against anything in speedrunning. You are competing against you. That is why speedrunning is speedrunning. It's not a sport. It's not esport. It's a gray area and it's a niche. This is Golden Zoa, signing out.